Assalamu alaikum, you're watching Healthwise and I'm Dr. Tahira Shahid. Health is not always a physical state. Health is a state of well-being. It is your mental state as well. And your mental state is what is very, very important at the same time. And nowadays, what is trending on Twitter, on Facebook, on Insta, on all these social media platforms are a number of students. Some of them who are complaining against why the exams got cancelled. Some of them who are speaking in its favor. The lockdown has taught us a lot of things, where the pandemic has been actually affecting people, killing them, causing disease in them, and a lot of them are recovering. It is causing some very permanent effects in children, especially the students. That is why we thought we would invite today onto our studio a very distinguished educationist. She has been a principal of various schools and even right now is the principal of a leading school in Islamabad. The thing over here is that the students do not have that kind of mental level where they can decide what is best for them. Let's welcome Mrs. Shagun Irfan, who's an educationist, who's a principal of a leading school. And I think you're the one who's in the limelight most now, and so is our educational minister, and so is everybody who's concerned with education. What has the lockdown done to our children? The kind of impact it has had on them. Could you elaborate? Because people are just worried about children contracting the disease and then getting well. And it is known that not many children even contracted the disease. It's not very prevalent in children. And even if they did recover from it. But what they're not being able to recover from is this brunt, this lack of routine, this staying at home, this disruption in their academics. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, I think we have all been discussing the pandemic for the last year and a half, and it's had a major impact on society, and especially in the educational level, impacted the children, impacted the teachers, impacted the parents of these students. When you're talking about the mental health, I think you would know that 1.5 billion children around the world have been deprived of basic education, leading to severe psychological impact on the students. On a daily basis, the kind of issues that I'm dealing with, and speaking to students and their parents is disturbed hours of sleep.
Yeah.
There is, extreme exposure to the social media, to all the devices. They are taking classes online, sleeping late. And there's a sense of tiredness. The children are not getting up fresh in the morning.
Right.
There's also lack of perception of time. So, the children they forget what week it is, what day it is. They find it difficult to recollect, concepts, what are being taught to them. There's a lack of motivation.
Don't you think that because COVID is not going anywhere, we have to learn to live with the pandemic? So closing schools all the time is not an option, neither is online education. There has to be some middle path, because education, when we talk about education, it's not just literacy. It's this routine, it's time management, it's social interaction. And as you were mentioning, that a lot of students are suffering from this kind of depression.
Yes.
So, what would you have to tell our audience about this so that they kind of change their perspective about it and stop fearing only the pandemic and start understanding that these very permanent issues are going to cause them more harm?
Dr. Tahira, researchers today are actually analyzing on the mediating roles of resilience, on various coping mechanisms, on the social support that a family can provide. So I feel personally the school, the teachers and the parents, that's all the three stakeholders, they have a very important part to play. Teachers need to, since there is no FaceTime and everything is online, through the online classes, they need to keep the children motivated, inspire them to learn better, adapt a regular study routine, come to the online classes on time. We try to push the children to do their very best. But more importantly, now that the children are studying at home, I feel the parents also have a great responsibility. And where we are seeing a major gap is in the parents' capability and capacity to instruct the child, to facilitate the child in dealing with these issues. Initially, the school is an environment which provides prolonged stimulus and feedback to
But children get frustrated easily.
Yes.
Children are getting very, very disobedient lately. And you know, when
Yes.
you look at the social media trends as well, the children were speaking a lot against the exams just so that they don't have to give exams, right?
Yes.
What they don't realize is how harmful that's going to be for them in the long run, how it's
Yes.
going to affect their career. And this laid back attitude of not wanting to learn is making them very, very lazy. And when you said, you know, keeping them motivated, they have a lot of depression associated with them.
Yes.
So are there any online activities as well? For example, a teacher comes, she takes classes online, but do you have some kind of engagement programs where teachers and students can actually, you know, play something with each other, have some kind of talent
Absolutely.
shows, display their
Absolutely.
talent?
We have a lot of events such as this. We also have, you know, a lot of arts and craft that, you know, we tell the children to develop some hobbies, which is important. We are also guiding the children how to best utilize the time at home, inculcate hobbies, do some exercises. They're also suffering from weight gain.
Yes.
Depression is a very real thing. This impact is not just children being lazy. So I'm going to defend the students here, but it's the whole environment, not to mention the structure and size of the families, the kind of amenities, you know, that the resources that the family can provide, they vary. For some children, it's a big household where they can cycle around, they can skate, they can do gardening, and lots of other activities. However, in some households, they're still struggling to provide uninterrupted or, you know, internet connection.
Exactly.
The number of devices, because there are so many siblings in the house, to be able to procure those many
Yes.
devices. So it's a lot of struggle at a lot of levels. It has impacted everyone very deeply. And I wouldn't just put it away that children have become lazy. They are dealing with a lot, and they need constant counseling, constant social support by the teachers, by the, you know, everybody in the field of education. We are touching base with the children, constantly checking out what they are doing. We are encouraging them to share their, you know, if they've created something, they've invented something, we try to put it up on Facebook. We encourage the
Right.
child and appreciate and
But
acknowledge their achievement.
the school is a place where, you know, you can enforce the maximum amount of discipline. A child
Yes.
goes to a school to learn discipline and they know how to follow rules, right?
Yes.
So I think a school is one place where SOPs are followed perfectly.
Absolutely.
They're not followed in the markets, they're not followed on the roads, no matter how much we are claiming that they're being followed. Yes, they're
Yes.
not being followed and people are breaching them all the time. But a school is some place where students and teachers and all the administration can actually
Yes.
enforce it. So don't you think that schools should not be shut down after this extreme wave is over, and you know, it should be actually continued with all those SOPs? And how are the kids reacting to those SOPs? Are they complying?
I think the students are complying to the SOPs, and it's a lot of sacrifice on their part, but you know, they do it because for a simple reason, they get face time with the teachers, they get to interact with their peers, so their social skills are getting developed. However, the challenge I think for schools is that outside the boundaries of the school, when the parents come to collect the children or drop the children, how many ever SOPs that we put in place, they are not adhered
So
to.
this recent thing where the CIEs got
Yes.
cancelled and where so many
Yes.
students are crying, have gone into depression, are
Yes.
actually in nervous breakdown. I know so
Yes.
many of them personally who are just completely shattered because they were completely prepared despite the challenges. And one fine morning, just because of all the
Yes.
people outside the hall,
Absolutely.
it was cancelled
That's
all of a
really
sudden.
sad. That's really sad. But you know, we are supporting our children. We are counseling them. We've been with them through Zoom, through every media where we could, you know, speak to them and counsel them, because they have worked hard against all odds throughout this time, taking the online classes, you know, doing the mocks online. So it's been a real challenge for them, and I really appreciate the kind of work they've put in through this. And suddenly, when the exams got cancelled, they were quite heartbroken.
Yeah,
and
it's
now
the
I feel
uncertainty that shattered them,
yeah,
right?
but we are going to support them for, you know, the tag, the teacher assessed grades. If that be what the government decides to do, I think that will support the children.
So how are you going to encourage the students to look forward to a tomorrow? Because right now there is only disease, there's a despair, there's depression, the parks are closed, outdoor activities are closed, they can't go out, they can't meet their friends, and they can't even learn, right?
Yeah.
So how do you actually make sure that they want to live on? Because a lot of them are getting very suicidal,
Yes.
watching all these violent games,
Yeah.
you know, playing these violent games, watching some violent content, getting towards aggression. They have all these hormones building up, they don't know how to vent it out. So what is your you know, plan of action regarding that, or your advice to them as parents, as students?
Well, my advice to the students will be adopt a good, healthy regime in your lives. So you should have, you know, proper hours of sleep. That's really important. And just having enough rest, getting up on time, and not being exposed to too much social media all the time, all these devices, it's harmful. So they will need to cut down on those, rest well,
and utilize this time to build themselves in one way or the other.
And I also want to urge the parents to engage constructively and positively with the students.
But it's not always possible for the parents. For example, like working mothers like myself and everybody else, you know, we don't get time at all to interact with the students and sit with them online, and especially if your child is really young. It's impossible to make them, you know, sit in front of a screen. They're not willing to do that. So what about these young children who haven't even learned how to, you know, speak or interact or socially, you know, bind with other people or even sit in a place?
Actually, school is the environment where they learn all these social skills. And that's where, Tahira, it's really important to have a good social support system, whether it's grandparents or at home, somebody to help with the coping mechanism. There has to be a way forward. The teachers are trying to, as I said, inspire them, motivate them, give them constructive things to do, and get them geared to a positive thinking. And, you know, this is the new normal, like they say. So as far as we can see, it's going to stay for some time. And as far as we can see, online learning has become a reality. Technology has become integrated into our daily lives.
So don't you think we should be going back to our roots now? Like we're going back into organic food and everything.
Absolutely.
That school where in the open ground under the tree. I think if we go back to that kind of schooling, it's going to be very suitable for us. They're all distance. They're far away. They're getting their vitamin D. They're breathing freely. And yet they're not infecting each other.
Absolutely. And I think the school provides a very, very positive learning environment to the children. As I said, it's the FaceTime, the social skills, the interaction. We are seeing a lack of all these things in the students today.
How was that model working out where you had like limited attendance, where few days for few students, few for others? I think that was perfect, right?
It was working out really well. And you know, we had even kind of bend the rules for certain games just to ensure that the children go out and play some sports. So we limited to just them playing football so that they don't touch anything. They just, you know, use their feet to play that game. So we had come up with a lot of innovative ideas to deal with that and to keep the child in a happy frame of mind. You have to elevate their mood. You have to bring in positivity in them.
There's one more thing that's very important over here. Like people like yourself, educationists or principals or teachers, they should be the policy makers, the people who decide whether a school needs to be open or an exam needs to be conducted and whatsoever. True. Unfortunately, nowadays on social media, we have a lot of people who call themselves influencers based on the number of likes and followers they have. And they are the so-called, you can't call them celebrities, they are self-proclaimed celebrities doing something or the other. And students, because they don't realize what's good for them, start following them. And then they start giving verdicts on this, whether it was the kind of medicine you should take or the kind of strategy or policy that should be adopted. Can you tell the students that they don't realize that the pandemic will end, but the world will not change for them? The world will want them to go out and earn. The world will want them to carry a valid degree. And by wasting this time and losing this time, they're going to lose out on something in the long run.
See, another, I think, as soon as this academic session ends, the children have to go out there, get their admissions in the universities, whether they do it nationally or internationally, they have to move out into the real world. So we have to prepare them and get them geared up for the real world, for the real tomorrow.
And I remember as kids, we went through a war, we had wars and everything. But now when, years later, when you go out for an interview, for example, somebody's going to hire you or you're going for a further studies, they don't realize that this lag in between of 1 or 2 years or whatsoever was because of war conditions. In the same way, years later, when these children are going to go forward, nobody's going to give them the benefit of doubt, oh, you were during the COVID time. So this is something I think as educationists, you need to tell the students again that we're not your enemies.
We do that all the time. We are counseling the children all the time because, like you said, these influencers, it starts coming on Twitter, on Facebook, cancel the exams. But they, they are children. They are young adults without experience.
Actually, the influencers themselves are children as well.
They don't realize the repercussion of this because I was speaking to a child just, in fact, yesterday when the government made this announcement. And I was telling them that, when you go out into the world, they are going to ask you, have you cleared your A-levels? Have you cleared your O-levels? And you will need to show them certificates. And, it will be difficult then to establish, yourself as a professional in the real world without the proper qualification. So don't look for shortcuts, children. You have to, do it the hard way. There's no shortcut to success.
And how effective is online learning? Because the online thing and practical is very, very different. So
Yes.
you can't actually. So what would you say about that? How can we improve that part of it?
Taira, I feel the online learning, every school had a different, program and the training that was required, the amenities and facilities that were provided to the teachers. Because as I said, not every teacher, not every family has uninterrupted
Especially in our
internet
rural
connection.
areas, we don't even have all that.
They don't. I, in fact, visited an NGO and they were educating underprivileged children. And I was so sad to see that, as I said, they are completely deprived of education.
And not going to school is going to cause them more harm.
Yes.
The more depressed they are, the more
Yes.
malnourished they are,
Yes.
then they get into a lot of other diseases. They start
Yes.
contracting so many other diseases that actually cause disease and death in children, right?
Taira, we are seeing so much weight gain in children
Yeah.
because there's
and
certain
so
sense
many
of inertia.
asthmas and allergies
Yes.
and all sorts of new things are coming up because of
Absolutely.
their lack of nutrition, wrong
Yeah.
wrong habits, staying up late at night, and all of this as well. So before we leave, I would like you to give a message to all those students who worked really hard and couldn't give the exams, and all those who think that it's a party time nowadays, and all those who are suffering because they can't go to school and have not been able to have an access to normal education.
Well, I think it's not party time as of now. The decision is that the exams will be held in the October-November session, so they still have to study and they should keep themselves, revise whatever they have learned so far and not give up. Maintain a healthy lifestyle, children, eat healthy, sleep on time, and try and do something creative with this time that you have. And yes, pandemic is here now, but it's not going to stay here forever. So
What is
let's
going to
look
stay,
forward.
however, is you and your
Is
health.
you, your talent, your capabilities, and your potential should shine through, I feel.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Shagun, for joining us. I
Pleasure.
hope the students had a wonderful, enlightening session after today, and they would know where to look for direction, for light, and for the right path. Thank you so much for watching.
Pleasure.
See you next day, and see you tomorrow, inshallah. Allah Hafiz. Thank you so much, Mr. Shagun, for joining us today and for enlightening our students. And I'm sure our students had a wonderful time listening to you. And today they will listen to you and realize where they are wrong, how they can improve themselves, and how they can cope with this pandemic that's not going to stay forever. Thank you so much for watching. See you tomorrow, inshallah. Allah Hafiz.